Welcome back to the interview. Welcome, welcome back to the Intercourse Show. I'm sorry, I'm speaking faster than I could think. It's crazy. Welcome back to the Intercourse Show. In this segment, we are covering a Kevin Samuels clip where he gives modern women advice on how they can fix their relationships. I haven't seen this clip before, so let's jump right into it and see what the late great Godfather had to say about it.
Your Godfather's going to be in TV. It's going to be a dope show, a dope program. The entire show. It's not going to be in a little bit part. It's going to be the whole damn thing. That's right, boys and girls. The whole damn thing. The whole damn thing. Godfather in the house. Godfather in the house. Da-da, 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 da-da. How y'all doing? What's the one thing that modern women can do to fix relationships? I need you to pay attention, ladies. The one thing that modern women can do to fix relationships, I'm going to ask you guys. How many guys have you been in a relationship? How many ladies, I need to ask you a question. Ladies, how many of you ladies have a 1-800-Flowers account? 1-800-Flowers. What happens when you're a man and you go to buy flowers to a florist? What's one of the first things the florist says? What's the occasion? Right? What's the occasion? You say you're sending them to your lady friend, and depending on if you buy something, what do they ask you? When a guy is going to buy card, candy, flowers, they ask you, what do they ask you, gentlemen? What did you do wrong? Right? Gentlemen, how many times have you gone to buy flowers, candies, a card or something from a woman? They ask you, what did you do wrong? Meaning that worldwide, men have been taught that if you do something to mess up with your lady, you have to apologize and then fix it. You got to apologize and then fix it. Appreciate it, Tyra.
Getting hard and getting turned on are not the same thing.
That is why Blue Chew Gold was created.
Science show.
I want to ask you ladies something. What happens when a woman does something wrong? When a woman goes to buy men flowers, oh, okay, women don't do that. What happens when a woman does something wrong? Oh, women don't do that. The one thing that women can do to fix relationships is remove the N in sign language. The need to be right is keeping you ladies single. Why is that important? Because modern women do not know how to frickin' apologize. Back me up on this, gentlemen. How many men in the chat room have been in a relationship with a woman who knows how to apologize to match what she's done? If you're a man and a woman and you've been in a relationship with a woman and she has apologized to the level of the infraction, put 32 in the chat room. If she's apologized to the level of infraction, 32. See, if a man messes up, he can't just say, I'm sorry. Why? You got to know what you're saying sorry for. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that. But I need you to ask yourself a question. How many times in your life, gentlemen, have you witnessed a woman apologizing to the level of the infraction? Shout out to Alpha Male Strategies. Ladies, learn something. When you make a mistake, you gotta make it up. What you gonna do? Gentlemen, start telling your women this. What you gonna do to make this up to me? When she comes around, when they come around to do this, hey big head. Hey big head, hey, how you doing? You know, women mess up. And then they avoid conflict for the longest. Then they come sniffing around you. Hey, how you doing? Hey, big head, whatever. And we just cool, laying back in the cut. And then when they get to chit-chatting and talking, they be like, hey, how you doing? How's your mama? How's this, such and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Like ain't nothing happened. Like they didn't mess up. They did something. And then after about like the fifth or sixth message back and forth, this is what they do. Well, I need to go ahead and apologize for doing what I did. I didn't mean to do what I did. And then what comes next? What is the next word after this. Gentlemen only. I need to go apologize for doing what I did. I didn't mean to do what I did. What is the next word? Type the next word that fits right here. Gentlemen only. What is the next word? What is the next word that fits there? But. Shout out to Big Dog Damon. But. That is the very next word. B-U-T. But. Hey, you. I made a mistake. I messed up. I didn't mean to mess up, but. And we know that anything said before but is bullshit. But is said to basically completely, but what happened? But the price of tea in China, but this happened. There's an airplane crash. There was this, there was that. And the but, and what do we as men know? That but is meant to shut you up. Because after all, they did apologize, right? How many times have men had to apologize to a woman for doing something wrong and then had to be in the doghouse? Go sleep on the couch. You can't get no loving. Da 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 da. So, ladies, let me ask you, what is the equivalent of a doghouse for the woman? Because an intellectually honest person must understand that in a relationship, women are just as fallible as men. And when a woman does something wrong or in error, if there is a doghouse of men, what is it for women? What's the doghouse of women called? It's called nothing, because you don't think you should apologize. It is hell to get a woman to effing apologize today across the board because the need to be right. Let's be honest. Most women don't think they should be apologizing for anything. This is how the typical modern female apology happens. They do something wrong, act like it never happened, see if the coast is clear, make meaningless small talk, apologize, and then say, but, and you're supposed to accept it. Gentlemen, this is where we fuck up. Don't accept these apologies. Don't accept the but. See, modern women have not learned how to conflict with men they care about. Women will more readily apologize to their girlfriends, to their sisters, than they will to the man they're having sex with. Gentlemen, if you believe that women are more willing to apologize to another woman than the man they're supposed to care about, love, right, put 57 in the chat room. The one thing that modern women can do to fix relationships.
Colostrum, the sweet nectar that is every mammal's first sip. Nature's original formula.
Okay, that was the Godfather right there. He just laid a pretty compelling point. Could a lot more relationships be fixed if women were willing to apologize? Let's question that. I do believe that it is harder for women to apologize because women like to dance around the topic. I think they like to be right a lot of times. And them apologize means them being accountable. And not too many women like to be accountable. They like to spin it and make it seem like they did something because you did something. And had you not done something, then they wouldn't have done something. And sometimes, that results into some I guess, irreconcilable differences. And other times, the man just stays quiet and gives them the win. And when he gives them the win, it doesn't necessarily mean he's forgotten about it, ladies. It just means that he would rather preserve his peace than to stress himself out. But what men do is they tend to shut down emotionally. So they're not fighting with you, they just shut down emotionally because in their mind they're thinking, I'm about to slide. You know what I mean? Like they're thinking, okay, if I don't have a say in the relationship, then, I'm not about to argue with you. I'm just going to do me. And it is what it is. Because for men, the respect thing is major. We don't want to be disrespected. We don't want to feel like we don't have a voice in our own relationship, and we don't want to be emasculated by our women. So when our women can't apologize to us when they wrong us, then it almost makes us feel like we have no real value to them. So most men tend to fall back. If that man's not pushing back, ladies, it's not because, he's forgotten. It's not because he even forgiven. It just means that he would rather preserve his peace. But, when a man goes silent and he's not really pressing the issue anymore, that means, mentally he's checked out of that particular situation. And so in his mind, he's, doing his own thing. If you're not willing to be compliant, that man's going to go outside and figure out who's willing to be compliant with me. He may keep you around, but truth be told, he's not stressing the situation. He's gonna keep it pushing. So, I think that's one of the areas in relationship where the communication can improve between men and women, especially in the Black community. We tend to walk away from relationships quicker than we stay in them because I don't think we know how to fight fair. Sometimes you take years building a relationship and it can be gone in just that split second. Why? Because we don't set rules around how we fight. I'm reading this book called Make Today Count. And in the book, the author mentions, setting rules in a relationship. And one of the examples that he used was, some friends he had, and he said, because the friends had different personalities, the husband was the extrovert. He tends to dominate a conversation, and the wife was more the introvert. She was more quiet and laid back. She didn't really like confrontation. So you have one personality where the conversation is being dominated by one person who likes to talk a lot. So he fills 90% of the air. 90% of the conversation is him talking. And she's only got 10%. So understanding that dynamic, they set a rule that whenever there's some conflict that they have to work through, that he wouldn't over dominate the conversation. That means the wife would always get to speak first because he has a tendency to take over the conversation. So if he's talking 90% of the time, she's probably going to be intimidated by the time she gets a word in. So she's not going to, be able to let her side be heard by him. And whenever women don't feel like they're heard, then, they tend to, suppress what they're feeling, thinking that it doesn't even matter. So what he did to show her that she mattered is he would always let her start the conversation first. Another thing in terms of how you talk is changing your environment. So one of the principles is going out on a walk. Energy in motion equals emotion. So there's a way for you to exert your emotions, to exert the energy as you're getting information. So, allowing the person to talk first is a rule. The person who's least likely to talk the most. And then also walking, having serious conversations while you're walking. There's no distractions, no phones, no, social media. There's nothing happening that's going to distract you. So the person has your undivided attention, and you guys can tackle whatever the problem is. That way, the person at least feels like there's been some effort made to give them the floor so that they can express what they're feeling and it makes sense for all people involved. In that case, I think, you know, that's a great demonstration of people who are intentional about finding ways to keep their relationship intact. Too often we just leave it to chance. Like, you actually have to set up, some sort of system for your relationship, depending on the dynamics of your relationship with your partner. So you have to, find a way to allow each person the opportunity to be heard. And you got to make concessions, you got to make some compromises. But at the same time, too, you got to be accountable. And I think, ladies, it means a lot when a man sees that a woman apologizes and she's accountable. I mean, I think it's a small thing, or at least it sounds like it, but it's harder to do in real life. And I think that's the point that Kevin was trying to get to there, is saying a lot of modern women have a hard time apologizing. And, it sometimes becomes a wedge that breaks relationships up. So just a small pointer. I think it was some useful input. Obviously, he was very entertaining and comedic as he was as he was giving the advice. But I think the bigger point there is, don't be too big to apologize. And that's really on both sides of the fence. Men, you got to apologize too. If you've been, a bit much, and it's always good to demonstrate that it's not beneath you to humble yourself and to apologize to your lady. So I think it was good advice. But what say you guys? Tell me what you think. What are some advice that you can give women to help keep their relationship intact? And ladies, weigh in. What is some advice that you think men should have, to help keep you engaged in a relationship? So, it can be constructive. I think we're better together. So finding ways to keep your relationship intact is absolutely better than allowing a relationship that you've invested a lot of yourself into to disintegrate into nothing. So weigh in. You know the channel, The End of the Course Show. Like and subscribe. Stay connected if you're not already connected. Also weigh in, leave a comment, share the video, and let me know what you think. All right, guys, signing out. You be well until we speak again.